As a racehorse, Sacred Life's very interesting. As a 2-year-old, you're racing in France. He won the Prix Thomas Briand by 6 lengths. That's a top French graded stake. And what's interesting is that his male line ancestor, Nureyev, the great son of Northern Dancer, was champion 2-year-old in France of winning the same race by the same margin. Coming over to the United States, Sacred Life, for a horse that was precocious, showed great durability and consistency. He added another 3 graded stakes here at around a mile, was 7 times stakes placed, 6 times graded placed, including in the Grade 1 Arlington Million and the Grade 1 Maker's Mark Mile. So you got a horse there that was precocious, top class 2-year-old, and then trained on to be a high class and consistent grass miler. Sacred Life has an extremely interesting pedigree. He's from the male line of Nureyev, champion racehorse and champion sire by Northern Dancer, and a 3/4 brother to Sadler's Wells. He comes down from Nureyev through Pivotal, who was a 2-time Grade 1 winning sprinter in England and was several times the leading sire in England. Sired some good horses that raced in the States here, like Megahertz, who was a multiple Grade 1 winner, and Talco, a Grade 1 winning miler on the West Coast. And then his own sire, Sacred Life by Sayuni, he was a Grade 1 winning 2-year-old, and he's developed into one of Europe's best sires. He's now standing for around 150,000 this year. And he's got some terrific horses. He's already had 5 classic winners, including Sot Sass and St. Mark's Basilica, who both won the French Derby and the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. So he's an outstanding stallion. If you want to look at the dam side of Sacred Life, he's out of a mare by Montjou, who was a great classic winner himself and was known as the Derby sire because he had so many Derby winners around the world. The grand dam of Sacred Life is a full sister to a horse called Rule of Law, who was champion 3-year-old in England. And also in the family is a horse called Olympic Glory, a champion at 2 and 3 in Europe, and a horse that's already standing in France and as a young sire has 2 Group 1 winners. There are some definite pedigree links here with horses that had success in America on the dirt. I mean, the sire line, Nureyev, for instance, got Theatrical, who was champion turf horse, but was a very effective sire of horses on dirt and turf. Nureyev's 3/4 brother to Sadler's Wells, and Sadler's Wells is always also in this horse's pedigree through his female side. Sadler's Wells had a son called El Prado who never started on the dirt, but came here and got Medaglia d'Oro and Kitten's Joy. And of course, through Medaglia d'Oro has a dirt sire line. We could also note that the second dam is by King Mambo. King Mambo came from France, never raced on the dirt, has been a very effective sire on both surfaces, and of course had Lemon Drop Kid, who was a champion on the dirt. So if we consider Sacred Life's pedigree and we look at Nureyev, Sadler's Wells and King Mambo all close up in the pedigree, we see there's a lot of precedent for horses that raced on turf in Europe coming here and making an impact both domestically and internationally as stallions. Looking at Sacred Life's pedigree and what he might cross well with, even though Sayuni is not a horse that's overly familiar in North America, there's plenty of precedent for him working with strains that you'll find here. He should be very good with Sadler's Wells, which opens up all the new horses like Medaglia d'Oro and Sons, Kitten's Joy, Archie Schiller. Should do very well with Danzig line stallions, horses like Warfront, Exchange Rate, that kind of sire line. Stormcat should work very well. Stormy Atlantic and Storm Boot would be particularly interesting because they're from the family of Nureyev and Sadler's Wells. Sayuni's done extremely well with Mr. Prospector. You could breed back to the King Mambo line through Lemon Drop Kid. Street Cry, Street Scent, Street Boss from that Street Cry line have all been good. Smart Strikes worked. Distorted Humors worked. So there's plenty of Mr. Prospector line horses. And perhaps a little surprisingly, the Fapiano line, which, you know, is primarily Unbridled Song, Empire Maker, that's worked under Sayuni. You could also look at Gone West, through a horse like Spadestown, particularly perhaps, who's got a son, Munnings. And the Roberto line, particularly Blame, would be extremely interesting. And you could also look at Dynaformer. Of course, Sacred Life is a horse that excelled on turf. And turf racing is becoming ever more important in North America. In fact, a little while ago, the Thoroughbred Daily News ran an article, "The future of turf racing is the future of racing in North America." And if we look, about only 5% of all races were run on the turf in 1991. By 2017, it was up to 17%, and it would be higher than that now, even. The class is improving too. Right now, 39% of graded stakes are run on turf. So the class is there. The opportunity to pick up black type is there, perhaps even more so than on dirt. You can see that a horse like Kitten's Joy, who was a dominant turf sire, was twice leading sire here. Kitten's Joy actually became an international sire off his turf performances. Warfront was one of the hottest sires in the world here, primarily off turf performances. And I think the growth of turf will continue. It tends to bring bigger fields, a bigger betting product. And of course, a natural upshot of the popularity of turf racing has been the tremendous growth in purses for turf runners. There's a big program in New York now with a turf classics up there. California is very big on turf racing. You've got great opportunities at Kentucky Downs with fantastic prize money. So the opportunities to earn and pay your way on turf are out there.